Hey, Collab crew, I'm Ashley.
And I'm Andrea, and we are empowering estheticians one conversation at a time.
Welcome back to the Esty Collaborative podcast.
And we are so happy to be here today, and you look so lovely.
Thank you. Our new set, loving the vibes.
You guys like the light? We love it. We love it.
Yes.
So what are we going to get into today?
So today we're going to be talking about setting up your business as an esthetician and what we would do differently if we could go back to day one.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
Because there is a list of things that I think I would do completely different just knowing what I know now.
Yes.
So yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah.
So when it comes down to something that you would do different, is there like one thing that you can think of that's at the top of your head that's like, yeah, I would do that all over again? If you do have something, what is that?
It's tough to just pick one thing, honestly.
Yeah.
And I did a podcast recently with another girl, Genevieve, who is kind of doing something similar to what we're doing, networking with other estheticians. She asked me this question, and I was like, it's very hard to pick just one thing. Now that we're looking in hindsight being 2020, there's probably so many things I would do differently.
Absolutely.
So today we'll hit on, I think, a few of those. But yeah, I would say I do feel like, we've talked about our experiences in school before, and I felt like I had a really good experience in school.
Okay.
Even though it was a very short amount of time, I did come out of school feeling very confident as far as working hands-on and jumping into work somewhere right away.
Yeah.
So I will say that, but yeah, probably more of like tracking customers before and afters. Really focusing on 2 to 3 treatments and mastering those treatments instead of kind of trying to offer a little bit of everything.
Yeah, I'm guilty of that.
Yeah.
I felt like I was offering everything.
Yeah. And probably most of us have, at least at one point within our careers, just wanting to offer, the facial treatments, the body treatments, the waxing, the lashes.
Almost wanting to do everything that they taught you in school. Because they taught you like all things aesthetic. So you kind of want to go out there like, why would I not offer everything that I was taught? Of course I want to do lash lifts. Of course I want to do eyelash extensions, waxing, facials, all of the good things. But that can get kind of overwhelming.
Yeah.
Because that can kind of get overwhelming.
Yeah. When you think about coming out of school, you're really not mastered in any of those. Yeah. I mean, if you're lucky, maybe you've done a handful of facials in school, or maybe 2 or 3 lash lifts in school, so to come out and then just think that, you can just start offering this, without some continuing education or more hands-on practice, then, and I think it could even be the opposite way too. So like for me in school, we did touch on a lot of different things, but my teacher mainly focused on skin. Yeah. So it pretty much was like, we're not learning makeup here. We're not learning waxing in depth. We're not doing the lashes or any of that. So for me, it was almost like coming out, like being introduced to all these things that I didn't get to do in school. And it was like, oh, I love all this stuff. Yeah. Like I want to do all of this, So I think it could go either way. Either you're doing it or you're not. And, just
I feel like when it comes to like my experience in school, I remember learning those things. Our program was 10 months long.
That's right. You did have a longer program.
Yeah. So we had time to kind of mess around with a lot of the things we learned in school, which it's like a good thing, but I also feel like it's a bad thing because now you get out of school, you don't know what you want to do because you love it all. So I think that's kind of where I was at. The only thing I did not love was doing eyelash extensions. I don't have the patience. Nor do I have the time. And if it was up to me doing it all day, every day, I would charge 3 times as much as people. That's how much I did not like it. So that's the one thing I did not do. But I do feel like my school also set us up for learning everything we needed to know because there was also makeup included in there. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I'm going to come out and I'm going to be a makeup artist, but I also want to do skin, but I also want to do waxing, but I also want to do, it's a lot. And you don't have to do it all.
No,
yeah, you do not have to do it all because it gets overwhelming.
It can, and it's a lot of supplies to keep up with. And the thing too is sometimes, which I found this for myself too when I was offering like lash lifts and things that I don't offer anymore, is getting through that product before it expires.
Yeah,
because if it's not something that you're booked all the time with, I actually really had to go back through my numbers and just say, okay, how much am I spending on supplies for lash lifts?
Yeah.
Am I getting through the product in time?
Yeah.
How much am I actually really making off this service? And for me, it was something that wasn't at the top of my list. It wasn't bringing in the most money for me.
Yeah.
And I didn't love to do it. So I was like, okay, you know what? And then in that instance, I had plenty of other amazing estheticians that do a fabulous job. So I'm like, you're my referral now. So all my clients will now be coming to you because I'm not offering this anymore, you know? So yeah, I would say, really, I think when we come out of school, we feel like we have to be offering all these services. Really just master like two or three really great protocols. Make them unique to yourself, your clients, what they're asking for, what you like in a service. And I feel like that's really what starts to set you apart and build trust within your clients too.
Yeah. And that also helps you kind of narrow down and find out what it is you really enjoy doing, finding that niche. And I know a lot of people's like, oh, that word, I think having a niche is important. That does not mean that you can't do other things. It just means that you have a specific audience that you're targeting, which makes you a little bit more desirable to the client that is looking for that said treatment. So and it just goes to say, like, everybody is not going to be your client, right? So if Ashley doesn't want to book with you, that's okay. If I don't want to book with you, that's okay. But there will be someone out there that does want to book with you because you're offering something that they need. So don't be too hard on yourself thinking that, oh, I'm not getting the right clients that I want, but you're going to get the clients that you need, especially when you're perfecting your craft in whatever your niche may be.
Yeah, I totally agree.
So like when it comes to social media, I feel like that's another thing that a lot of new estheticians right out of school kind of get freaked out about, like not knowing exactly what to post or what type of content people want to see. I don't know. I guess the best advice that I have for that is just be yourself. You know, I think your personality alone will bring in the right people.
Yeah. I totally agree. Because we know how much fun we have with our clients and they feel like our peoples, you know? And I know we've talked on previous episodes before about just thinking that you need the perfect before and after. But I think really just showing up authentically and genuinely, educating people if you haven't had time to get some amazing before and afters or follow through on case studies if you're just starting, you know, but educating people, I feel, really is what gains the trust in your clients that you are, you know, knowledgeable in this area.
Yeah.
I mean, amazing before and afters are going to catch people right off the bat when they're searching socials. But I think once they start researching more into who you are, what your business stands for, what your specialties are, they want to get to know you as the person.
They want to know you know your stuff.
Yes.
And I couldn't agree with that more. I feel like I have, I don't know, this thing, like I will just, if I find a page that's just full of information, I find myself going down a rabbit hole, just listening to that person speak on their area of expertise. And I'm like, damn, I just learned so much. Yeah. So I agree with what Ashley said. It is so important that if you are not going to have a before and after, be knowledgeable in your business. That way people can trust even coming to you. It's scary out here, y'all. It's real scary. There's people that, you know, unfortunately, we are in times where people are trying to get in it and get in it quick.
Yeah.
And there are some schools out there that are very, very sketchy that if you have the money, you got your license in the mail in 2 weeks. So make sure that you're going to an esthetician you trust and that you know knows their stuff. You know, there's just so much out there that freaks people out, especially when it comes to like chemical peels, you know, people's skin getting burned, and those things just should not happen.
Yeah.
And if you are an well-versed, educated esthetician, those type of mistakes would never happen.
Yeah.
Because you're going to always make sure that you're approaching the client's skin with the minimal of ingredients before taking it up to that super strong TCA or Jesner or whatever peel you're using. So that just comes from lack of knowledge. So that just kind of circles back around to just making sure you know your stuff, and don't worry about those before and afters. Those will come. You know, just talk about what's up here and let it flow.
And I think showcasing the testimonials, client testimonials about their experience that they had with you, because the client experience is huge in how you're building your business.
Absolutely.
Every client wants to come in feeling warm, welcomed, safe, comfortable. You know, I mean, I think sometimes we forget how personalized a service like a facial is, you know? And even for me, I'm not going to just anybody to touch my face, right? It's somebody that we trust, that we have kind of built this rapport with too. But yeah, client experience is something great to also testimonials, ask for reviews, because reviews are definitely going to help you build your business.
Absolutely.
Word of mouth.
Word of mouth that's top tier right there.
I mean, for me, that's personally where I get most of my new clients is by word of mouth.
Same. I don't know if I probably should start keeping like a tally mark of, because I'll have clients that come in. I was like, I just searched waxers or whatever, chemical peels, and you came up. Then I have some people that's like, oh, such and such told me about you. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I almost feel like it's 50-50. But if I think about it and I take away all of those word of mouth people, I probably wouldn't be as, busy as I am. So I think that word of mouth is just as important as that social media presence.
Yeah.
If not more important.
Yeah. Well, you have really good SEO too. So I feel like when people do Google you, that is another reason why you're basically top on the list.
Yeah.
Which is why it's also important to have a presence on social media.
Absolutely.
Or to have a couple videos up on YouTube. And we've talked about before, you don't have to master all the social media platforms, but at least just having a couple things on each platform and then having your one favorite that you're doing most of your showcasing and educating to your clients on. I think that's what becomes important too. So when people are searching for you, you're coming up.
Yeah.
But word of mouth, I mean, I know for me, most of the services that I go to get are by word of mouth as well, right? Because I trust that my friends and family have had a great experience. So I walk in already feeling like I'm going to have a great experience too.
I always walk in feeling like I know them.
Yes.
Like, hey girl, Ashley told me about you.
Yes. You almost feel like a little connection there already before working together.
I love that.
Yeah. Word of mouth, SEO is huge. Also loyalty programs.
Yes.
So loyalty program, whether it's a punch card,
a point system.
Yeah.
Within your booking site. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I know Square does offer a loyalty points program.
Yeah, Vagaro does too.
Do they?
Yeah. So,
and then there's some apps that I've heard about too that, because I will say I'm looking into the app option because right now I have the punch card, and girl, it's such a headache to keep track of because your clients never come with this punch card. And then I don't ever want them to miss out. So I'm like, oh, we'll just add a new punch card, right? And then we'll just collect them. Do you know what a headache that is? Collect them all together at the end. And no, it never works.
Yeah, no. Everything is going digital anyway. So if there is an easier way to do something, do it. If it's by downloading a new app, do it, because we're working smarter, not harder these days, So I used to do the whole punch card thing too, and I got rid of it.
Yeah.
I'm on a point system now, so no thank you.
Yes.
Yeah. So what do you think is important about setting the foundation of your business whenever you're like going back, thinking about when you started? Was there anything that you would have done differently, or is there any advice that you would give to an esthetician kind of trying to figure out where they go?
Yeah. I mean, I think policies and procedures, which we do have a podcast episode about based solely on policies and procedures, kind of standing your ground in your business.
Absolutely.
So if you haven't checked that one out, that's back in season 1. So I would go rewatch that if you need some advice on implementing those. But staying true to those policies and procedures from the beginning, you're setting that expectation with your clients, and I think that it earns you a little more respect, it down the line.
For sure.
You're really good with your policies and procedures.
Girl, I don't play. Okay.
No, as you should not.
Baby, I'm charging that card. But I don't have to do that often. I feel like those clients that truly, genuinely respect you also respects your policy, you know, and like she said, we have a whole episode on this. I'm not going to go into detail about it, but I just piggyback off what she said. Stand your ground with your policies. Your clients will respect, especially the ones that actually are loyal and respect you. Regardless of what your policy is, don't worry about hurting nobody's feelings because you have to protect your business at the end of the day.
Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I have a question when it comes to like skin analysis, right? Do you feel like when you started, you were like really good at doing skin analysis?
I mean, I was okay. I felt like I knew the basics. I knew enough. I mean, I've always been more conservative. It's funny because I'm an Aries, but I'm not like a traditional risk taker that most Aries are described to be. But so I've always kind of worked more on that. I kind of tiptoe into things. You know this as my business partner. I'm sure you've learned it about. Whereas you're like, let's go full force. And I'm like, wait, pump the brakes. I'm not ready yet.
So bad.
But no, it's a good balance, you know, and then sometimes that is the push that I need to, you know what I mean? But I think even with that, just, I've always been more of a conservative person. So I've always started off like low and slow and kind of built up from there.
Okay.
Also, when I first came out of school, I was working for Aveda. So they are really into the skin analysis portion of the facial. And I was working with a line, like the Aveda line isn't huge. So there's not a ton of options. So I really didn't feel too overwhelmed. But I know that's not the case. Honestly, most of the students or new estheticians that we talk to, I feel like skin analysis is a huge struggle for them. Yeah.
Which is insane. Because at the very least, okay, you already leave school feeling so overwhelmed and or feeling like you did not learn everything you should have learned. You should at least know how to do a skin analysis.
Yeah.
And I could say like, I got that down because, you know, the experience, the years. But when I got out of school, I don't know if I felt like I was 100% confident with looking at someone's skin and telling them, yep, your skin's dehydrated or your skin is oily and dry at the same time. Your skin is super whatever. You know, I was not. Now I feel like I can confidently look at someone's skin and before I even get super close and just be like, yep, they have acne prone skin or, you know, they're not using the right product. Their barrier is damaged, but they don't, you know, unfortunately set you up sometimes when you leave school.
Yeah.
So.
Well, I think that's because a lot of schools are not getting enough people in when the students are time to work hands-on, right? So it's just, especially skin of color.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? If they're not inviting in different skin of color for you to work on or your classmates, you know, then you're definitely, that's setting you up for failure after school, you know, because now you don't feel confident working on everybody.
Right.
And that's
a problem.
That's a problem.
Yeah, that's a
you
big
don't want to
problem.
have to turn clients away.
No.
Like it's one thing if it's a skin condition that you're not familiar with or not equipped to handle, but we should be comfortable working on anybody's skin tone.
I 100% agree. Couldn't agree more because we get that a lot. A lot of people want skin of color refreshers. A lot of people want us to do trainings on how to do chemical peels on skin of color, you know, safely and effectively. And to me, I'm like, that's crazy because you spend all this money going to school and you leave not knowing the basics of what you need to know.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that if I could look back, I would, and from the beginning, just perfected my craft on doing skin analysis.
Yeah.
And just making sure that I was 100% comfortable. I could say I was about 80, but there was just always that like, I don't even know if I'm telling them the right thing right now.
I think that happens when we come out of school. We kind of just, you know, it's like fake it till you make it kind of thing. You're sounding as confident as you can while in your head you're like, is this even correct? Right, you know, but it does come with experience. I think seeing so many different skin types now, as long as we've been licensed, it is easy to kind of just like point those things out without even getting our hands on the skin, you know, but a good skin analysis is what's going to set you up for success in your treatment protocols with your clients. Because if you don't have that down, then you really can't confidently talk to them about a treatment plan, where to go from here. I mean, yeah, that's just like a non-negotiable. When you're starting your own business or even working for someone else, you have to be confident in the skin analysis.
For sure. Another thing that you have to be confident in is understanding ingredients.
Yes. don't
just put whatever on people's skin just because you have it, because their skin may not agree with it.
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, I feel like I've always was pretty good with knowing what product went for what skin condition or skin type or whatever. I don't think I've ever truly had a problem with it. Were there times that I would second guess it? Like, yeah, let me research this a little bit more so I can sound more confident when I'm responding to someone about it. But it is very important to know your ingredients. And I'm not talking about when you flip the back of a bottle, you know, all the scientific words for all. I'm not talking about that. Just if you know that, that's great. Like, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you. I don't know. Sometimes I'm like, what even is that? You know, and I'm like Googling it like, oh, okay, just another word for hyaluronic acid or just another word for vitamin C or whatever it is. So it's good to know and recognize what you're reading and what you're recommending your clients to go purchase or use because of whatever skin condition they have.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and it's okay to not know it all. There's thousands, if not tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of ingredients out there.
Gosh.
You know, and a lot of these labs create their own like patented formula that might be a few different ingredients in one combination, you know? So yeah, I think there's always going to be new things too, because even now we hear new trendy ingredients that are new coming out on the market, newly sourced. You know, this salmon sperm that they're now doing, like
lace.
You know, it's just every year it's something crazier and crazier.
It's like a salmon sperm exosome or something, and they threw the exosome in there because everyone's on to exosomes right now. And I'm just like, can y'all please stop?
Yeah,
please stop.
Some of it seems very trendy, clickbaity.
Yeah.
You know, some of these newer ingredients don't have the long-standing case studies that are tried and true ingredients like vitamin C, hyaluronic acid, you know, things like that do.
It's crazy because just like you said, a lot of them don't even have the case studies. And, you know, they're like, oh, new formula. Well, how long did you test it out? Who did you test it out on? Is it safe for all skin types? What's the long-term effects, if there are any? You don't know because it's only been out for 6 months.
Yeah.
So for me, I feel like slow down when it comes to jumping on those trends of what you should add to your treatment room. Do your own research. If you truly feel like, okay, this is a product that I understand, I stand by, I would love to bring it, you know. When it comes down to helping a client, clearing their skin, I don't feel like I need a bunch of stuff.
No, you don't. I think keeping it more simple is usually better.
And it works. So, you know, if you want to get the newest, the shiniest, do it, you know, but don't believe every little trend and thing you see out there. Do your own research and, you know, and then when the clients come to you and tell you that they want Korean glass skin, just pop them on the forehead and tell them it's genetics.
Yeah, that too. Or it's the ring light. It's the facial oil, the glass skin trend.
It's a thing. It is a thing. However, is it realistic for everybody? Probably not.
No.
Can you get close to it? Yeah, sure. But, you know, just explain to your client, like, listen, sweetie, you know, you could get there. You can get close to it, but just keep in mind that a lot of it is genetics.
Yes.
A lot of it is genetics.
Yeah. And honestly, a lot of it is staged too. Like, don't believe everything you see on social media, because a lot of our clients, they're coming to us asking these questions. Oh, I've seen this, I've seen that. And, you know, it's easy for them to get caught up because they don't know any better. So if you want to have fun with a trend, have fun with it.
Yeah.
You know, do a TikTok video, do something fun with your client, but keep realistic expectations with them.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. I couldn't agree more, because I don't know how many times I have to ask a client when they come in after their skin analysis, you know, based off what we just discussed, what are your skincare goals? What are you trying to reach? Like, what's in your mind when you look at your skin? I like to ask that, because a lot of times they're like, oh, I just hate all this hyperpigmentation. And then when I'm looking at their skin, I see like one little spot. I'm like, okay, girl. So, and then at the end of it, they're like, I just want glass skin. And like the girls on TikTok, okay.
And there it comes out.
There, yeah.
Like, so, okay.
Just give them their realistic expectations. It can happen, sure, but that comes with consistency, using the right products, trusting your esthetician, and trusting that your client will do what you tell them to do.
Right. Yeah. And don't follow TikTok trends, please, clients.
Please do not do that.
At least text your Esty besties first and say, hey, what do you think about this?
Yeah. You know? For sure. There's another thing that I would say that, not that I struggle with. All right, I kind of struggle with it. Doing detailed notes.
Oh, yeah.
I struggle with it. Now I'm good because I make sure I note, I take pictures. But in the beginning, I'm like, damn, what did I sell her? Or damn, like, what did I tell her to do? Like, what did I... Detail, guys. Details. Yeah. Make sure you are charting and you're putting your information, even if it's a simple note like today's date, and then you put what you did, what you observed, what did you recommend for the next treatment. Just keep those little simple notes in the client's file as well as pictures. That way you can keep track, because I had clients asking me like, oh, did you take pictures before? And at that time I sucked at doing before and afters. And I'm like, oh no, I didn't get pictures. And their skin actually made a difference, and I didn't have pictures to show that what I told them to do actually worked. So those notes, those pictures, get into it.
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Especially if you're giving them samples to take home, because you want to follow up with them too and say, how is your skin feeling after using this for a couple days? Or, you know, and if they come in the next time, I loved that sample you gave me. Yeah. And I'm like, oh, what was that? Was that a mask? Was it a serum? And they're like,
was it creamy?
They don't know. They're like, oh, you know, it smelled really good. And I'm like, everything smells good. Was like, what was it? And now it's like playing the guessing game, you know? So
and you don't want to do that.
You don't. And I mean, the thing is, I think our clients really do understand that we see so many people and like, but I think when you are remembering those special details about them, I mean, even leaving notes down to things in your client's life that they talk to you about, you know, like how many kids do they have? What is their animal's name? Like, what is their favorite thing to do? You know, that way you can always feel connected to your client, even if it's been a while since you've seen each other.
Yeah, and you can kind of pick up where you left off.
Exactly.
I actually like that. I don't do that. And I actually had the other day, oh my gosh, I had a client who, it was yesterday actually. I hadn't seen her in a couple months, and I thought she was telling me that she was moving to DC because she met a guy, right? And I picked up and she was like, no, that's not what. And I was like, you didn't say anything about moving? She was like, I'm moving for work. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry. So please make those little notes. You see so many people. Yeah. And it's if you don't keep track of who said what, it's so easy to get them confused. So I actually really like that. And I think I'm going to start doing that. Yeah. So I don't have another mistake like that. That poor girl was like, for a guy? No, sorry.
Didn't mean to offend you, girl.
Nah, she was all good. But that's actually a really good tip to kind of just throw in there. Just so, and then it makes your client feel that you remember, like, dang, you remember what we last talked about? Yeah. So I think I am going to really start doing that just to help that flow when they come in. It
adds a special touch. Yeah,
it does. It really does. But I mean,
also with the protocols, like you mentioned, like I think that is super important to be logging what you're doing, because also if you want to post their before and afters on social, then you can kind of give a game plan to your clients on what this client had done to achieve these results, you know? So definitely mark your protocols, or maybe you want to try something new. You know, you might be using the same enzyme on your client every single time. And I'm guilty of doing this because I have like 2 or 3 favorite enzymes. Yeah. And all of a sudden, have I used this one on you before?
That is hilarious.
I think so. Some of them don't know any better, but you know, you want to keep it fresh and exciting for your clients too.
You do. Yeah. I feel like that's one thing that I actually really like about SkinScript. Shout out to SkinScript. They have so many different enzymes for so many different skin types that each time they come, you could change it and they feel like they're getting something different. Yeah. You know, you can do the coconut papaya, then you can do the pomegranate, and then you can do the lemon, and you can do the raspberry. Like it's just all these different, and they smell so good. So I feel like that's another way that I kind of keep it from getting like, oh, we're doing the same, or, oh, is it? And they know when it's new. Because they're like, is this new? And I'm like, Actually, it is. It's a raspberry enzyme, and it's supposed to hydrate you. It's gentle for your skin, and it's always good to switch it up just a little bit.
It is. And they have seasonal offerings too, so that makes it fun too. That during different seasons you can offer something fun.
For sure.
Yeah. So speaking of detailed notes, I think retail is also important to include in your client's profile.
Absolutely.
So the products that they are currently using at home, whether you've okayed these products, which typically is a process I have with my clients during consultation.
Yeah.
And also what they've purchased from you. So that way you can also continue to track the results.
Yeah.
And it's going to contribute to their amazing results.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I think a lot of estheticians are scared of retail, and it doesn't have to be a scary thing.
No.
Retail really is something that your clients need to help them maintain their results at home.
Absolutely.
What you're doing in the treatment room is a very small part. We call it the 80-20 rule. So 80% of their results is what they're doing at home every single day, being consistent. And then 20% of their results will come from those more advanced treatments that you're offering them in the spa.
Yeah, kind of like the gym, that whole, 80% is what you eat, 20% is your workout. When it comes to retail, another thing, a lot of estheticians that don't do well with retail, they're scared because they feel like they're being pushy. And I don't care about none of that. If I'm working on the client and I know you need a specific product to help your results, I'm going to tell them why they need it. I'm going to educate them the benefit of this specific ingredient on how and why it's going to help get their skin to where they want it to go. So like Ashley said, it's important for them to have it because it helps their results. It's going to work hand in hand with whatever treatment protocol you just did on them. So if you break it to them that way and let them know, like, look, you just, invested in this amazing advanced treatment. You want your skin to do what your skin is supposed to do. And it's not going to do it just going back home and using CeraVe or Cetaphil. You may need a more advanced hydrating cleanser. You may need a more advanced serum or whatever it may be to help take your skin to the next level. And I think when you explain it that way, clients are more inclined to be like, you know what, you're right. Because why would I spend $350 on a treatment and then go and use Dove bar soap?
Yep.
It just doesn't make sense. So if you are using quality products, and not that the product has to be crazy expensive, right? You just have to use better quality, because there's a lot of watered down stuff that's over the counter in the drugstores and things of that nature that's just not doing anything for the skin. Yeah. So if your esthetician says you need a Mandelic serum, get the Mandelic serum. If they say you need hyaluronic acid, vitamin C, whatever it is they're telling you need, I promise you, they're not just trying to upsell you. They're trying to make sure that you're walking away with at least that one ingredient that you're going to need to get the results. So Estes kind of look at it that way. And, I personally try not to push 20 products on my client.
Right.
I would tell them if it was up to me, I would prefer you use these 3 products. But if you cannot get all 3 today, the one that I would say you would need is this serum at the very least. And typically, if you do it that way, they will walk out at least buying 1 product.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then they'll start adding the others to their collection.
Right.
Once they see how well this one product's doing, they like it, it feels good on the skin, then they're, okay, let me branch out and try some other things.
Absolutely.
And then you can start selling them more retail when they come in. Not that you have to, but typically our clients need at least 2 to 3 things that they're not currently using. Like you said, we're not just recommending just to sell, we're recommending because we know you need it. And a lot of the times if they're getting great results with the products at home, we don't even have to do so much when they come in to see us. I'm like,
so true.
You could not use the vitamin C and then have to come in for microneedling 5 times a year because, you have pigment that keeps coming back.
Yeah.
You're not doing anything to help inhibit the pigment. Or if you're not wearing sunscreen, and that's, of course, a whole other thing. I wouldn't even do the advanced treatment, but, you're going to not use good products and then get chemical peels and it might come back with a vengeance.
Yeah.
So you're really just fighting an uphill battle and wasting your money with me when you're coming in for treatments to not get long-term results.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So home care, if you're not comfortable selling retail, I would suggest reaching out to the product line that you're using. If you have a spa with employees and you have new team members coming on, or a front desk person, make sure that they're really well versed in the products, and have your product line rep come out and do a mini training. A lot of the times they have virtual options too that you can do. And even if you're just really recommending like your personal favorites, don't get overwhelmed by this full line. I like to kind of cherry pick a lot of my products. So I pick my favorites from every line that I know work really well together. Yeah. And do it that way.
You can do it. So don't be afraid of retail, y'all. Sell those products because your client need it, not because you're just trying to make money. I mean, of course, we're trying to make money, but your clients really do need those products to make sure that they're not coming back and telling you that treatment didn't work, So get them the right stuff.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so,
and then it goes back to continuing education too. Yes. So, especially when you're first starting out, I understand if you're not making a ton of money yet, it's hard to make investments into continuing education. But that's why I love the trade show circuit and scene, because you get such a bang for your buck when you go there.
Yes.
All the free education, getting introduced to, hundreds of product lines, essentially, being able to feel everything that's out there and see what really aligns with you.
Yes.
And then free virtual trainings are, all over online now. So just even if you're taking one little webinar class a week, and something that you feel like you need more confidence in, maybe it is for retail selling, maybe it is for skin analysis or product ingredients or, some of those other things we touched on today.
Yeah.
That's the continuing education is what's going to help you get to that confident place.
Yeah, it is. And I agree with that. I don't really have much more to say on that because I feel like she touched on all the points that I was going to say. It is just so important. Get out there, learn, trade shows, extra trainings, go back to your teacher in school if you need to, get whatever extra training you need to make sure that you're confident in what you're doing.
Yeah.
It just helps you. It helps you out a whole lot. So I agree.
Yeah. And if you need education or you need guidance or you need assistance, come see us at Collab Con on April 27th.
From 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. So make sure you are there. There's going to be an amazing amount of people there just coming to learn, grow, and network. We have some amazing vendors, speakers, prizes, food. It's going to be a party that you don't want to miss. Okay, don't have FOMO. Be there. Okay, be there.
Yes. And there's going to be so many estheticians there, I feel, from all different walks of their career. So to be in a room of, 175 other estheticians that are at different levels than you are, the amount of information that you can walk away with, it's invaluable, priceless.
Yeah.
So absolutely make sure you come, network, take some classes. Yeah. It'll touch on all the things that we talked about today and so much more.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. Oh my God. I feel like we touched on all the things that we wish we would have done differently.
Yeah.
And I really hope that we were able to give some insight to new or seasoned estheticians, because I'm a seasoned esthetician and I feel like I'm still learning on what not to do in the industry and in business. So yeah, like it's one of those forever growing industries, and you just gotta stay in there and just keep swimming.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And if there was anything we left out or anything you need guidance or assistance in, leave it down in the comments below and we'll be sure to touch on it on the next episode.
Yeah. So make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And we love you all. Thank you for tuning in.
Bye.
Bye.